Happy Tuesday morning, April 15th. We are, at the end of the day, we'll be halfway through April. Oh gosh, through April. And exactly 1 month from today is our last day of school, May 15th. There we go. We are to the home stretch. But before we, finish too early, some people call that celebrating before the finish. We still got work to do. So I am on page 337 in your math journal, and please go ahead and open up there while you're watching the video. And as always, here is today's joke. So what is it called when you borrow money from a bison? When you borrow money from a bison, it's a type of animal. It's called a buffalone. That's right, a buffalone. Maybe you'll get it. I don't know. Bison is another word for buffalo. A buffalone, a loan of money. Maybe it's not so funny when I explain it. I don't know. Anyways, we're going to start on page 337, and we're going to take a look at page 338. We're continuing to look at simplifying algebraic expressions, although today we're actually going to solve for the variable. So to start out, we're going to look at some number stories using the distributive property. So think already our number models are going to model the distributive property. So just think about when you read the sentence, know that you're going to be using the distributive property. So a carton of milk costs 60 cents. John bought 3 cartons of milk one day and 4 cartons the next day. So how much did he spend in all? Well, first let's figure out our problem. So we've got 60 cents, he buys 3 per carton, he buys 3 the first day and 4 the next day. How can we make that equation using the distributive property? Well, I know that 60 cents is going to be what's being multiplied, because I know I need to multiply that. So I'm going to put 0.6 on the outside, and I'm going to do 3 plus 4. And there would be our distributive property. So when I solve that, 3 plus 4 is 7.6 times 7 is going to equal $4.20. Okay? So you are you're writing a math equation. That's what number model means. A math expression, algebraic expression from the sentence that you're given. Okay? So you can go ahead and do numbers 1 through 5. Not yet. Let's take a look at page 338. So these are some of the problems that you will see and solve. And as always, we've got a few steps to complete. So looking at number 1, the first thing we want to do is see if we can simplify it anymore. So that's our first step right here. It says simplify each equation. So we want to see if we can simplify it. So can we simplify it? Number 1, just exactly where it is. Yep, we've got like terms here. So I have 6y minus 2y. So that's going to leave me with 4y equals 40. And now I want to solve for y. So I want to get y all by itself. And what kind of math is happening between 4 and y? That would be multiplication. So whenever I want to isolate, get the variable, which in this case is y, all by itself, I want to do the opposite of what's happening. So we have multiplication, 4 times y. That means I want to do division. So I'm going to divide each side, because whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. Each side by 4, and I'm going to get y equals 40. There we go. So now we've solved that problem. We're good to go. Now let's take a look at number 6 right here. We've got 3m minus 1 plus m plus 6 equals 2 minus 9. So first thing is simplify. So I'm going to look at my like terms. I've got 3m and plus m. So I'm going to do 4m. Then I have negative 1 and positive 6. So that's going to be plus 5. So I've got 4m plus 5 equals 2 minus 9, negative 9, and then positive 2. So I'm going to have negative 7. So I have 4m plus 5 equals negative 7. So now I want to get 4m all by itself. So I'm going to subtract 5 from each side. And it's probably helpful if you do this while I'm working on this. I mean, it's a freebie. Your choice, though. So now I'm left with 4m equals negative 12. And now I'm going to, of course, like you guys are saying, divide by 4. So negative 12 divided by 4 is going to be negative 3. So I'm going to get m equals, make sure you write that, m equals negative 3. Okay, last one that I'm going to work on is turning to the next page. If you go to page 339, take a look at, well, not really. Take a look at number 7 here. I'm not going to work on it. But along with simplify, you see here, we have what property? That's right, the distributive property being shown. So we would want to distribute first. Before we do any kind of simplifying, you want to distribute that. The next thing is that we also have variables on both sides of the equation. We want to get a variable just on one side. So that would be our next step. After we distribute and we simplify, we just want to get a variable on one side. So that means that you've got to subtract, just like we treat right here with the 5 right over here, how we subtracted 5, you would want to subtract or add the number variable to the other side. I'll just do number 2 for example. So here's what I'm talking about. Here we have p on this side and p on that side. Alright. So we want to get the p on one side. Oh, this is hilarious. So what I think is easiest is I've got plus 5p and I have negative 5p, or negative p. So the easiest thing is to do the opposite. So I could either take away 5p from each side, or I could add p to each side. This is great. So I am choosing to do the easier option. I'm going to add p to each side. Oh man, so now we have 6p plus 28 equals 88. So that would be our first step, is get the p, the variable, on one side of the equation. Alright, I'm done. This is just too much for me. Go ahead and work hard on your problems, and as always, if you have a question, please let me know, and I will see you in real life.